Hey guys, welcome back to SuperCaf. In this video, I've got the Eufy Security SoloCam S220. I've had this particular camera for 2 years, I believe now. It was released in 2023, and at the time, believe it or not, I believe it used to retail for well over £100, and if it ever came on sales, it used to drop down to around about £70. However, if you are watching the video close to the upload date of this, so if you managed to catch it early on, this is actually on Black Friday sales at the moment, so $39.99 I've seen it for on Amazon Prime. So if you fancy one after watching the video, feel free to head over to Amazon and take advantage of that. But anyway, this camera, going on to it, I've had it for 2 years, so this is more of a product review of how it's been over the last 2 years. I've bought another unit, by the way, so it might give you an indication of if it's good enough or not. So the idea of this camera is that it's got a solar panel on it. So you charge it fully to begin with before you mount it in the correct place where it gets adequate sunlight, and this thing will top up its charge and eliminate the need to charge it. That's the idea of it. Now, it does work, I'm not going to lie, but if you live in a place like England, during the colder months, you'll find that when there's not enough sunlight and there's obviously shorter periods of it, it basically means that you might find yourself charging it unless the location that you've got it mounted on is absolutely perfect. Where I've got it mounted right now is on the shed, and the eaves of the roof where it's mounted do overhang onto the part of the solar panel, so it's not in the best possible place, but I've just mounted it there, and I think in the last 2 years I've probably charged it towards the colder parts of the year, so November to Feb. So in total I've probably charged this thing about 7 times in the last 2 years. Product features are 2K resolution, you've got 8GB of on-device storage, on-device AI, so you would use the app which is provided by Eufy, which you will download, and it's quite a decent app which we'll get onto in a few moments. So without waiting any longer, let's take this thing out of the box. Now, this has been sitting around for a while. I did buy it for a blind spot when I had a nicer car, so it was intended to be used for that. Just to keep an eye on it where I couldn't have an eye on it with the other camera that I've got installed. Here we've got some of the fixings. So this part here is literally where the Eufy would get screwed onto. So you would take it apart like this. This is before you're mounting it, of course. So this back part here, you would screw this into, let's say, your shed. And if you are screwing this into like a brick wall or something, there are some fixings inside here that should be included, because obviously you can't just put it in like that. Them are your screws, and you've got some plugs there, so wall plugs. So you would need to use your judgment in terms of where this is being mounted, follow a bit of the instructions. But anyway, put them aside. Like I was saying before, this would go at the back, and then this part here, one end goes into the back of the camera, and then you literally put this here. But obviously, before you do that, you need to hook this part in over here, and then this goes in like that, and the camera just screws on. It's really easy, and the idea is this little ball here is there to move the camera around into the ideal position. So fairly simple installation. The first thing you would need to do, obviously, with the camera itself, once you've taken it out, is, let's just get it out of this wrapping first. And remember what I said earlier on, guys, this was well over £100 when it did come out, so it is a really good quality item, and at $39.99 is an absolute steal, to be honest. So that's the camera itself, and like I was saying before, once you've mounted this on the wall, this thing here literally just gets screwed into position here. Here we've got some instructions. Again, I've got everything in my head. I'm not going to refer to those. I've already got one of these, so in case you are buying this for the first time. If you need to refer to them, by all means, take a look at these. I'll show you the app and let's connect to the camera. Before we get started, just to mention one last thing included in the box is this USB-C cable, which you'll need to use to charge it. There's no plug included, by the way, so you are going to need to use your own. Okay, so we've now charged the Eufy S220 fully. We're going to take this protective film off on top of the solar panel and in front of the camera lens. Now, what we're going to do first is pair this device to our app. So I'll give you an idea how that is. So let's head over to my phone, place the Eufy down over here. As you can see on the right now, we've got the app over here. So what we do is over on the right, we've got this plus icon, add device. Okay, allow Eufy to access Bluetooth. Okay, yeah, that's fine, allow. So we'll head over to the battery camera section and now we'd select the SoloCam S220, as you can see on this box, SoloCam S220. So let's select that. Click on next. Scan QR code on the back of the camera. So we'll go ahead and do that. So only this time allow the app to take a picture of this. There we are. Okay, so the QR code is now scanned. Connect to router. Okay, so yep, that's fine. Let's just go ahead and do that. Press the sync button now on the camera for 2 seconds. 1, 2. And the LED is flashing blue. Hit next. So it says here, we'll generate a QR code for the Wi-Fi connection. Please use your SoloCam to scan the code on your phone. Okay. So point the...
Connecting to the Wi-Fi network. Please wait.
As you can see, we just face the camera towards the QR code on the phone and now it's doing its thing.
Setup was successful.
Click on next. And we can name this now. So we'll just put this down as the front door. You can always customize the name anyway. So here we've got a few options which say optimal battery life for now. Let's just hit next and get this thing installed. And we've got a few more options before we set it up. And we'll just go for the most efficient setting here for the notifications. And it just gives us a little bit of information here to say fully charge it, but we've already done that anyway. So hit next. And here again, we've got some mounting tips, but I'll show you that briefly. It is rather straightforward. So just to demo the installation, we're just going to place it on this fence here. As you can see here, this one is, you don't need any plugs for a wooden fence. I'm just going to screw this directly in. So let's get this screw into this fence and place the backing plate on. So now that the back panel is on, I'm just going to put this little ball joint through here, as you can see there. And I'm just going to screw it into the Eufy camera. Almost there. Right, okay, so that's tight enough. So now you just pull that back, place that into there. And just tighten it into place. Make sure it is fully tight, because the last thing you want is this thing coming off. And obviously rotate the camera back just to make sure the attachment is screwed into the camera properly. And then you can just obviously rotate it like this to get the positioning correct. Okay. And just remember guys, you're not going to get any charge whatsoever in conditions like this where it's overcast, raining, and generally throughout the winter period, especially in England. So let's just go over and see this camera that we've got mounted near the shed. And also I would avoid mounting the camera in positions like this where, as you can see here, you've got the eaves of the shed roof overhanging the solar panel, so it's unlikely to get any charge. During the summer it will, depending upon which direction the sunlight hits it, but right now this one will definitely need charging a few times over the winter period. However, when the sun is shining like this, as you can see, it is hitting the solar panels nicely. This is when you'll see the charging icon on the Eufy app in full force. This will show that the camera is receiving the necessary amount of sunlight in order for it to generate some solar panel charging. So this is the ideal situation where you will be able to know what is the best place to mount your Eufy S220. Okay, so let's check out some of the functions on the Eufy app. First of all, I'd like to say that this app is free to use unless you decide to use any of the cloud-based services. That is when there'll be a subscription. Unlike the Ring service that you have, that is obviously you need to have a subscription to even record anything, so nothing is stored when you've got the Ring cameras. So the Eufy app, even if it's any of the doorbell or anything like that, you can access everything all within this one app. Now, if I just click onto the driveway camera here, there are some features. So first one is, let's just hit the microphone icon, and we can actually speak through the camera if we keep hold of the microphone button. Hello, hi, can you drop the parcel off? Just throw it over the gate actually, thank you. Hello, hi, can you drop the parcel off? Just throw it over the gate actually, thank you. Okay, so that's one feature. Now the little scissor icon you've got there is that basically takes a screenshot of whatever's on the camera at the time. You've got the speaker icon, you can turn the volume on and off of the live feed that you've got going. If you click on the three lines on the right, we've got some functions. For example, if you're looking at the camera on a night, you can press the moon and star icon to change the camera to fully night mode if you prefer. And there is also this little alarm function which you can sound if you want to deter anyone, to basically raise the alarm, make any potential thieves go away, to kind of prevent a situation. If you feel that kind of would help. So let's just hit that for now, and that will sound the alarm for 30 seconds. So let's just cross off that. And moving on the settings, you've got all of this kind of stuff. So on dashboard, it will show what kind of charge you've had each day. As you can see, -7. I've been losing battery due to the awful weather that we're going through right now in the winter period. But it gives you like a little brief time of when you had the most charge. And this, you'd probably notice, is the best when it gets to spring, summer, autumn times. During the winter, overcast and cold weathers will drastically affect this, I would say. But overall, guys, this is a really decent camera for what you're getting. You're getting quite a lot for your money, to be honest. But I wouldn't say this is probably the best thing to have as a permanent solution, or if you need something more reliable and you don't have to keep charging it in the colder period, should I say. So I would say the Eufy S220 camera is ideal for anyone who needs a quick solution for some surveillance around their property, but does not want to invest in a full-on hardwired solution. For example, they might be renting the property and not living there for long, and they can just take this camera off once they move. So it is ideal for those situations, and also ideal for anyone who lives in a better climate and they do get adequate sunlight each day, so this thing can keep working wirelessly and never have to be charged. But if you want to buy one of these, I would say it is only worth it if you manage to get it in the sales, because if you spend around about £40–45 on it, it is absolutely worth it for that money. I wouldn't myself pay over the odds for one. There are better solutions if you need something more robust and reliable throughout the year without having to charge it. I would say the Eufy S220 is a great camera if you manage to get it at a sale price. But hope this video helped. Thanks for watching. Do subscribe, share and like, and I'll see you again in the next video. Bye bye.